Makenzie is a 20-year-old artist who's been honing his craft for 2 years, primarily as a rapper but now exploring diverse musical styles for his upcoming album. And Makenzie is with us here. How are you today?
Hi, I'm not too bad. Yourself?
I'm great, thank you. So, how did you get into music and what inspired you to pursue a career in the industry?
That's a funny story going back to being in secondary school. You hang around with the wrong crowd as you do, and a bunch of stoners. And
Yes.
there came a time where they would just freestyle, and I would sit there and just laugh at them. But there was a time where I did actually end up just coming out with a bunch of words at the time what I thought sounded all right. But yeah, as you do, you think, oh, sounds all right. Let me stick with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've tried to keep up a little bit since.
And you've been making music for 2 years and have an album on the horizon. So what motivated you to continue, I suppose? And how has your sound evolved during the last 2 years?
At the start, I was doing music on a bit of quite a few drill beats, and just hearing how music is sounding these days, it's like I want to try to make something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Obviously, keeping up with times because things are always relevant and certain things are always going to obviously sell more. But I want to do my own thing, and a lot of people are kind of going to the things like drill music and getting the wrong impressions. And I'm thinking, just a bit of that, and then a lot of inspiration from some things recently in the past year and a half have kind of given me more motivation to keep making music. So like breakups as you do, some family events which kind of stick with me.
And your upcoming album is called Love, Lust, and it's generating a lot of buzz. So what can listeners expect from it?
So it's got a bit of everything there. It's got, if you are into the nonsense rap, then the first couple of songs there's a bit of that, but that's kind of intertwining with the lust side of it, kind of, playing a bit of that. And then there's the love side, which is a bit of the relationships and the heartbreak side of it. But then also I'm getting to my family a bit because we had my nan pass last year, and then this year my granddad. So it was kind of like a massive hit for both sides of the family.
And have you experienced any challenges when you've diversified your musical repertoire from being just rap?
A lot of it, I've spent a few hours in the studio. I usually do most of my stuff from home, but a lot of what you record and what you get down can actually be influenced from where you are. So like at the start, when I did start off, I did have my own sound, what I had in mind, and it was kind of in the studio. I had input from the other artists there and other people who had creative ideas, and it's not always a major problem, but when you've got your own sound and you think, I want to do what I want to do, it kind of changes the whole project and ideas and can sound drastic at the end of it.
And are there any particular specific tracks from Love, Lust that hold maybe personal significance or offer a unique musical direction compared to your previous work?
So I think two of the biggest differences, like in terms of sounding to my other songs, 20 and 22. So last year being obviously my nan passing, it was kind of harder for me to cope because I had a lot of relationship stuff going on as well.
Yeah.
The first thing I went to was writing lyrics, and that was one of the first things I wrote when that happened. And then I came back to it this year because it was like a piece of unfinished work, and it just fit so well, and it went together because of how it sounded.
Do you have any particular insights from the creative process behind recording and writing the album?
Yeah, I've got a few people who give me hands and give earwigs, but nothing major. I always try to, if it's my own direction, then I'll steer it that way.
And speaking of that writing, how has your own songwriting process evolved since you began? And are there any maybe themes or topics that you like to write about in particular, and maybe has that changed over the last couple of years?
I've never, before maybe last year, I didn't have a set topic or anything I'd think about. I kind of just go with sometimes whatever my mouth will come out with.
Yeah.
But I think, with how times are today, there are certainly things what I could come up with and what I think, one, would be relevant, and two, actually might make a bit of an impact because, the state of the world and how living in the UK can be now.
Do you sometimes get, I suppose, fired up by life and want a way to express it, and music is probably the best way?
Yeah, that is it. It's like It's another art. It's another form of art. It can be. You can hear tones of voices, lyrics. Every little detail in a song could make a major change in it and the product.
And as you're a 20-year-old artist, how do you balance the demands of your music career with other aspects of your life?
That is this year has been a bit of a rocky one, but obviously in last year that was a lot more of my social life had taken over that year. This year, focusing primarily on work and funding my music, because it's obviously you need money for anything these days.
Yeah.
But any free time I've got, whether it's an hour or two or a few hours, I'll sit down, get a couple of recordings out, work on that a bit, try to see how that sounds. The past few months I've been trying to change it up a bit and keep my head stuck on with that.
And what advice would you give to other young aspiring musicians who are maybe looking to find that balance themselves?
Always try to keep your eyes open, because as much as you want to keep your head down, when you keep it down too much is when you come into like blockages and you stop working, because you either don't have the creativity and a certain inspiration, or you don't have the help you need sometimes. As much as we want to be independent and, I'm going to do this myself, keep my head up and look in that direction, you need to kind of open your eyes to everything else in the bigger picture.
For you, were there any particular artists or musicians who had significant influence on your work and maybe inspired you when you first started out and maybe still do?
So I used to listen to a lot of rock. I still do every once in a while, but I've always been fond of Linkin Park. So hearing Chester and Mike Shinoda go backwards and forwards and sounding how they do on the songs, it's always kind of gone, that's the type of lyricism I would want to be at one day. But I mean, no one can probably match his voice, but in the sound of the music, maybe one day.
And do you hope that maybe one day you'll get to collaborate with some of these artists that have inspired you?
There's certainly a few people I can think of. I'm trying to keep myself at a little head level where I'm just keeping straight for now. So I try not to focus on many other artists. I just see obviously what the big artists are doing and incorporate that with how I am.
And have you done any collaborations so far? Maybe not with big artists that would be an absolute dream, but just generally.
So I've got one with, it was one of the kind of, I say gibberish songs, I'm going to call them that, because no real plot to them, no real inspiration, but it was more for a vibe. But I've got one with the artist called Fat Bionics. He's quite a chill guy. We've got on quite well. It's called Weed and Stella. It's probably tell what it's about.
Yeah. Going back to this latest album, Love, Lust, is there a particular message or emotion that you hope to convey through the album?
It's just, there's a central point of... Sorry, my phone just keeps having notifications. There's a central theme of... it goes back to a lot of relationships these days. They're either formed over the lustful side of it, and most of them are, and you don't really know until you've gotten your head stuck in, and that's what the most of the second part of it was about, because where I spent a couple of years just bouncing between relationships, and it's kind of not for the right reasons, and you don't realise until after you get out of them, you look at it and go, what good was the actual relationship? And that's what kind of the whole theme of it's about.
Of course, this album is coming out very soon, but in the meantime, or after that, are there any projects coming up that we can look forward to?
I've got a couple, nothing what I'm going to throw out just yet. I'm keeping them secrets, but I've got a couple what starting to sound all right. It's work in progress.
Yes.
Still a bit of a different theme.
And looking ahead into even further in the future, do you have any long-term goals or aspirations as an artist, and how do you plan to continue evolving your sound and style?
So I'm just going to try to keep my mind open, try to figure out what route sounds particularly better with me, because obviously I've got my voice wouldn't be used in certain sides of rap, and I'm starting to realise that a bit more now, and I'm starting to learn what might and might not work, so I've got to put myself in them positions.
When will the album Love Lust be out, and where will we be able to find it, and where can we find all the music that you've already came out with?
In terms of Love Lost, I'm aiming to get it down and out, released fully before my birthday, which is September, mid-September time. If not, worst comes, it will be late September. But again, I've got it pretty much ready, just scratching up on it. Got most of the songs done. Any other projects? I do have a song what was meant to release a couple of weeks back, but due to me sending it off the stores and some of the photography not the best, I had to record it, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks for that one.
So either way, it's very soon indeed.
Yeah. All going to be on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. I've got stuff on YouTube and Spotify already, Apple Music.
Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great to have you here, and looking forward to seeing the new album when it comes out.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.